Ladies and gentlemen, we are back and we're happy to be back. We haven't been here for over a year, have we?
Almost, maybe 2.
I've got to ask a question. In this COVID-19 place, we've got to make sure we're that metre and a half away from each other. What is with that beard? Where are we going with that beard?
I stopped caring months ago.
Matt Tognini is now a triathlete. Let's talk about your triathlon career.
Well,
kicking off again.
I was a triathlete many years ago.
Yes.
And then I stopped.
Race in Singapore, state champion, all that sort of stuff.
Rubbish. And then I decided, because I'm turning old this year.
How old are you?
Old enough.
Where are you going to be this year?
50.
50.
And I thought I would do something stupid, so I'm going to do Ironman potentially in December if it runs.
But you're like training like a pro. Like you're doing 3 sessions a day, swimming, running, riding bikes, resetting the time trial bike. You are not messing about with this, are you?
Well, if you're going to do something, you may as well do it properly. And given there's no work and I'm unemployed, and I've got time, why not?
You're unemployed. Well, since we've been gone, I've been lucky enough to do a lot of commentating around the place, been doing World Cups, World Champs, and I have got the ability to call a 6-day bike race in 3 days, so it's been quite busy. Now, as you've seen in our promo since last week, we have got a couple of special guests. The jerseys are a bit of a dead giveaway. We're going to be with them just after this.
Okay. Ladies, gentlemen, we're here, and we have 2 special guests. We're very fortunate to have the great Travis Meyer.
Again.
And his older brother, Cameron.
His older brother, Cameron Meyer. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, Trav.
Thanks, guys.
Now, we'll get to you, but since we last saw you, you've made a cycling comeback. Fatherhood's happened, but you're back on the comeback trail, and you're racing Masters League.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a proper comeback, but I've just got back into a little bit of racing, but just at a B grade level, which has actually been quite interesting. I haven't ridden B grade since I was about 15, so it's been a good fun, and just happy to get back on the bike, and I've done a Masters race as well, so I'm feeling my age now. So
I got to ask the question.
Having watched you from inside the bunch in those B grade races, doesn't look like you've lost much.
Maybe not skill level. Definitely fitness. That's definitely gone away a little bit, but no, it's a good level for me for the amount of days a week that I ride and hours that I put in. I might do 3 or 4
But you
days a
do
week.
jump into A grade and circulate around with them as well after your B grade race.
On the easier courses. Yeah, on the easier courses. So Bayswater suits me down to the T.
Yeah,
because
you don't need to touch your
you don't
brakes.
have to
No
touch the
brakes, it's a velodrome,
so that's all right. So I got around there okay, but anything a little bit harder.
You won one or 2 around Bayswater. You won
I
a couple.
Yeah, I did. It took me a while to break the string, but I did end up winning one, so that was good.
It was on a special day for your family, if I remember rightly.
It was actually, yeah. So I had my fame for about 4 hours, and then Cam come out and won.
I remember mentioning it to Keno, and Keno put it over on the coverage, just to put no pressure on yourself.
No. Yeah. So I had my moment in the sun for a few hours, and then Cam overtook it that afternoon. So that was nice.
Yeah. Now the good thing about this is 2009, Durbridge, Freeburg, Meyer win the Teams Pursuit Championship of Australia. Then Trav wins the National Road title, Durbo wins the National Road title, Michael wins the National Road title. Thank God you got your act together finally. Now we can have you on the show. How many times, I've been lucky enough to be there. I was lucky enough to be there commentating when Durbo won it. I wasn't there when Freebie won it. I wasn't even commentating when Trav won it. Not to say it was a long time ago, but anyway.
But it was.
But I saw you go so close. I saw you run a very famous 4th a few years ago behind 3 of the best bike riders Australia's ever produced. And I remember driving past you with Katie Bates on the way home, and you saying then, I'm going to win this one day. I'm going to win this one day. And then you ran second to Jack, and we thought, maybe that's it, it's all gone. But there was something about this year in Ballarat. Durbo steps up for the TT, then Sam wins in atrocious conditions in the Criterium, and then you looked at the Mitchelton Scott team, and it went, well, they can only be taking Cam for this, and they were. And how did that day go for you, other than winning? But how was that day for you?
Yeah, it was about that time, I think. 12 years trying to get it, and I was 4th back in 2009 in my first year, and then had the 2nd to Bobridge. I had the 3rd when Michael won it, and being friends with all that crew and being team shoot champions with them all the way back in 2009, like you said. I had to do it. I don't think I had a choice.
Tell the truth, did they stir you up much about not having won it?
Every summer. Every summer there was something
of
said
banter.
every summer about how I had not won that.
Because you've got a fairly strong training bunch that trains around Perth in summer. You know, Durbo and young brother comes out with you, and Matt Burton and a bunch of others, and they wouldn't get stuck in much, would they?
No, of course not. No.
It's motivation.
Yeah.
Did the shine go off? Christmas lunch every year. Yeah, mate. 9 world titles. Yeah, Olympian, Commonwealth Games. But you haven't been national road champion, mate.
That's all I got.
That's all you had. That's all you had. Now it's done.
Now
Christmas
it's done.
dinner's now yours.
All
He
over.
knew it just ate away at me. I could say 9 world titles. I could try and come with every comeback I had.
2 Grand Tour
but
stages.
They all knew, and that I wanted that one title. So I had to do it. An event this year, it just fell perfectly into place, and I knew with a lap to go, I had to make the move, and it had all planned out right to be able to make that move. And once I was away, I wasn't letting go, and I pedalled. I knew I had 40 seconds, a minute coming into a K to go, and I pedalled all the way to. I wasn't having a Freeberg doing a flyer on me from out of nowhere, so I pedalled all the way to the line that day.
I was standing on the side of the road on the hill as you came up the last time doing the commentary, back to the start-finish line, and they said, "How's he looking?" Basically, and of course, because from the TV shots, you get to see it from you get to see it all, and you get to see the gap. But everyone wants to know, what does he look like? And I remember you had come past me. You still had your mouth closed, going across the top of the climb, and you're rocking the shoulders, and the power was going down. But as a commentator, you want to call it as you hear it, call it as you see it, and you want to say what you think. But the one thing I didn't want to say with you in earshot of the speaker was Cameron Meyer is descending his way to the national title. Because as a West Aussie and as a mate, I didn't want to jinx anything.
But you attacked in an unconventional spot on the last. Was it the second to last lap?
No, it was
last lap. Yeah. Because normally people wait till the steep part of the hill to attack. You went on the.
Went through the feed,
but you went through the feed and the less steep part of the hill.
Yeah, it took me 12 years to calculate it right this time. I've probably thrown every attack and know every inch of that course, and I knew the situation of the bike race. I had to try and put them in a place that they didn't want to move. And when you go at the bottom of the slopes on that highway, it's a long way to the top. And I knew they would hesitate when I went. I went in the big chain ring, I gathered that momentum through the feed zone, opened up that gap to make them think that possibly they've lost the bike race. That gave me enough to onto the second part of the climb that I crested with 20 seconds. I knew if I could get to the top with that gap that I had, I have the time trial ability around the back straight to hold it. So it worked out nicely. The
rest was history, and it was a fantastic day for everyone involved with WA cycling. But you two coming through, like, we both turned 50 this year. Him before me, so he's older. But the thing is, we've seen you come up. We've seen you from the day you were training with Rick Lee as part of that program, and Rick's having great success in Canada with the NCCH squad and so forth. And I remember being in a B grade version, I think, of the Tour de Perth one year, and you guys were riding straight gear Fuji road bikes. And I can remember chasing with Andy Brearley in the road race. You're up the road and you were in between the gap, and we were chasing at 40 plus k an hour. And we weren't making a dent on you, and I just remember saying to your dad, Ken, at the end of it, said, "You got 2 good boys there, mate." I was pointing out the bleeding obvious, but brotherly rivalry growing up, in the shadow, but then 5 junior world titles. That's a nice one. You only won 3, mate. Ha ha ha. All that sort of stuff. But I remember a race. Melbourne Fremantle Cycling Club used to run the crits out at Cardinia there for a number of years, and some weeks you'd have strong A-grade fields, a lot of depth, and other weeks you wouldn't. And one of the weeks wasn't the strongest field as far as numbers went, but the quality was good. And you're off the front with 1 to go. I don't know if you remember this, but you're off the front with 1 to go. Travi's going to win this one. You're chasing with somebody else, and we come down the home straight, and Travi's going to win it. Travi's going to win it. Travi goes win it. In the last 2 yards, Cam rolls him on the line. And all I heard, I was about 100 metres past the line watching. It did happen, and all I heard was this bloke yell out, "Not even one!" And you were laughing your head off like a bully big brother that you are, Cameron Meyer.
I actually remember that now. That was, I was shattered. I just couldn't believe it.
Did you speak to him that afternoon?
Did you speak on the way home?
We probably didn't ride home together.
Probably went in different groups, but yeah.
What was it like coming up together, like training together and chasing the same dream? How tough was it, or how good was it?
Oh, look, it was good. In the end of the day, I mean, we pushed each other. You know, we had those little moments as most siblings would have. But yeah, I mean, to have a training partner at that age, constantly, that we both had the same goals, the same ambitions. I mean, it made a massive difference, I think, to our level and how quickly we got to a certain level as well. And you know, we just loved every minute of it back then. So yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, the rivalry was healthy. It wasn't like a lot of siblings that fight over it.
No punches thrown?
No punches thrown. No. So no, we just pushed each other, and you know, we were very similar ability at that point as well when we were young. So you know, when he was having an off day and I was on a good one, I'd give it to him, and vice versa. So you know, it just pushed us, and you know, we had a lot of support from mum and dad as well with our training and racing. So yeah, it was a really good upbringing in that way.
And reasonably early on, you decided the track wasn't for you. And Cam, you've obviously very successfully continued on the track. What was the thinking behind that? What was the differences that caused you to make that decision?
Well, from my point of view, if we got to be honest, it was just so I didn't quite cut it. So I tried for a couple of years on the track when I was reserved for the team's pursuit, and I just couldn't quite. Sounds funny now, but if we had to go sub 4 minutes, I just didn't quite have the power and the speed. That's slow now, but
Jeez, but individuals almost going 4 minutes.
Yeah, that's I know. So, but yeah, at that point in time, I just couldn't quite crack it. So I had a road contract with Garmin at that point in time. So at some point, you got to call it. And yeah, I just made the decision that, you know, I wasn't going to quite make it in that on the track. So yeah, went down the road line, and obviously Cam had a little bit more success, a lot more success as the years went on, but on the track, and yeah, so I'll let explain his.
Would you call it your first love, the track, or do you like it more than the road? What?
Everyone asks me that. Do I love road more or track more? And I think they complement each other. I was always brought up trying to make a Junior Worlds track team and a Junior Worlds road team, and I've always tried to balance it. And maybe that's been a downfall in some parts where I could have focused on one and maybe achieved a little bit more, but I love both, and I've gone back and forth, and I've had my years just focusing on road and just focusing more on the track in recent years, but yeah, my love for both of them is pretty even.
You're the old man of the Australian cycling team these days. 2007, your first World Championships. You've seen them all the way through. Don't worry, we're
get used to it, mate. It comes real quick.
2007, you have seen several different coaches of the Australian cycling team. You've seen every single gun cyclist come through. Some have gone onto the road, some have not gone through. Who are some of the best you honestly have ridden with in the last however many years since you've been in the senior team? Well, we won't talk about your junior career because 3 as opposed to 5, and he won 3 in one day one time, so we won't talk about juniors. We'll just put it on you. The elite side of things. Who's the best you rode with?
On the track, I mean, being around Anna Mears, watching the queen of the track, the way she went about her business, and just successfully went to major championships and made it happen. She was so successful. So I saw her all the way back from when I went to Beijing through to the end of her career, and she was so successful. So she was pretty inspirational in the way she would go about her business, which was something really good to be a part of in those teams. And I think a little bit, I didn't get to race on the track too much with him, but on the road, Stuart O'Grady, he was the master. I watched him on the TV. He inspired me for the Athens Olympics when he came in and just tore everyone's legs off in the Madison in Athens. But then I was privileged enough to be a part of him on Orica Green Edge, and he looked after me on some of my road tours where I was trying to be GC at the Tour of California and Tour of Switzerland, and he was there as my road captain, and his leadership when he was on the road was pretty phenomenal.
It'll be interesting to see what he does with the Tour Down Under next year.
It will be interesting, actually. We'll see if there's a few change-ups, maybe a few TT or an uphill TT or something thrown in.
Is that a request? Say at the camera.
I'd like to see a team time trial down Anzac Road to Glen Elgin back.
That would be fine. I think our team would like that.
How good would that be? Mate, you started off points race, Madison, you've dabbled in the team's pursuit, then you 2018 still won the points race again. What was the reason for going into the team's pursuit? Like in 2017, Hong Kong World Champs, 7 of you, I think it was, took the world title. What was the reason for that? How come so many guys in 2017 were a part of the TP squad?
don't know. I think it goes in its waves where you do have a really good crop come through, and just at that time, I had stepped back into track cycling. Jordan Kirby had stepped back into track cycling, and we had the Sam Welsfords and the young guys that were coming through as big talents, and we all sort of came together as one for those World Championships in 2017. And I went back into the team shoot, and I'd been in and out of team shooting. It wasn't my natural event. I did prefer the Madison and the points race, and it's always been the events that I do focus on. But being part of that team that would ride at 350 like we did and won that world title in 2017 was pretty incredible. And to see what those guys time-wise can do now is the sport's moving very fast.
Yes, with what the Danes did this year at the World Championships is absolutely crazy. Mate, with the road, okay, the Olympics is off the table now this year. There's going to be changes to how it's going to be run next year. Fingers crossed it's all going to move quickly in this pandemic era. 32 now, how many more years? No, I don't want you to stop. Get me straight on that right now. I don't want you to stop. How many more years?
He was 42.
You know, how many more years for Cam, and what do you want to chase on the road?
Look, I would like to go as long as possible. I mean, I still love my cycling, and I feel a bit of a fresh air since I came back in 2017, and being a part of Mitchelton Scott at the moment, I'm really enjoying it. And I think after the objectives of the Tokyo Olympics, fingers crossed it goes ahead next year, and I'm there to compete on the velodrome. After that, I'd like to go back to the Grand Tours, and possibly, depending on what happens this season, there could be a chance of riding a Grand Tour. But I'd like to get back into that leadership role on the road, being a captain on the road, and being a part of those Grand Tour successes of Mitchelton Scott with the Yates brothers and Chavez and Hagues and Lucas Hamiltons, and being a part of that. So I don't see my career hopefully ending anytime soon. I would like it to continue on to the mid to late 30s, but yeah, at the moment you've got to take it every year as it comes.
Is that more your role at the moment when you're on the road, more of a road captain as opposed to a protected rider, or do you see yourself still having a chance to get after the odd victory here and there?
Yeah, the odd victory here and there, but I've got to be a little bit more selective. I'm trying to juggle my track commitments, obviously, and that limits me on the road for those really big, long monuments where I don't get to put in as many kilometres or the base case that a lot of these guys that are just on the road. But I am a little bit more of that leadership role, looking after the young riders, and I'm really enjoying that. And yeah, when I get a national championship or a stage to go after in certain tours, then I definitely still have that mentality to go after it.
Now, Trav, you've made a great transition out of cycling into what you're doing now. You're playing a lot of golf, I noticed. What's your handicap?
18.
I thought it was
Your handicap's 18?
Yeah.
Oh,
Bogey golf, it's pretty good.
Shot a hole golf
Yeah,
really
shot
good. You kept your end of the bargain with Andrew Jackson. You went and played with your jersey on.
Yeah.
How did that go? There's a photo on social media of you playing golf at, where was it?
Maylands.
Maylands, yeah,
Maylands.
walking around in your Australian jersey. That wasn't embarrassing, was it?
Yeah, no. There was a few more guys with a bit of booze in them on their course, so I wasn't the only odd one out there. But it was enjoyable.
I hope you didn't let him beat you.
Of course not.
So, hang the bike up. What's the plan?
Oof.
Well, you haven't even got there yet.
Look, I think it will be within the sport, and coaching is something that does interest me, and done a little bit. I have coached a couple of under 23 riders in the last few years, and had an opportunity actually at a couple of the World Cups where I was able to go on the sideline at
the Madison, Hong Kong.
Madison,
Yeah, that's right.
Sam Welsford and Kel O'Brien were in the Madison, and we were trying to get qualification for the World Championships, and I had the ability to go stand on the sideline and help coach them. So I really enjoyed that, and I think it'll be somewhere along those lines.
So potentially DS role, or?
Yeah, I don't know if sitting in the car for 6 hours or a Milan San Remo for that length of time would be the thing I exactly want to do, but I do enjoy the coaching side of things. So if it's training the athletes more so, and going to the competitions like a Grand Tour and that, and keeping an eye on the athletes during that process.
Have you made any moves to get the qualifications required to do that, or that's something down the track that you're going to look at doing?
More down the track. I did look at the Cycling Australia. It had quite a few level coaches courses, and they sold out because everyone was sitting at home, and I
didn't get in early enough.
But yeah, look,
Did you not just drop the name and say, by the way?
Yeah,
You know?
I should have.
Just ring the CEO and say, look,
Just make the full
don't you know who I
I am.
Put me on top of the list.
That would be good, but no.
You don't want to go down the DS role anyway, because I don't think you can drink as much Red Bull as Matt White does, mate. So, you know. So, best male cyclist you've ever raced against? The best,
Against.
number one.
Can be road or track.
That's a stump question.
There's been
There's
some good
too
ones.
many. All right, we'll leave it at
few.
we'll leave it at O'Grady then, shall we?
Yeah,
We'll leave it at
we'll leave it at
O'Grady, and that's
O'Grady.
that's a good choice. I was going to ask the question about favourite female cyclist you've raced with. It was fairly clear your admiration for Anna Mears, even though you're at 2007 Worlds where Kate Bates won a world title, and you're not going to mention Kate. We won't tell Kate. That's
She won't
okay.
want to watch now.
She's an inspiration.
She is an inspiration. I know that. I'll wind you up. I've got to tell you, funniest answer to a question you've ever said to me. We were doing something for some cancer ride, and I asked the question of, I'm going to ask you the same question in a second. When was the moment you decided cycling was for you? And your answer on the night was, I won 3 junior world titles in one night, and the whole room sort of started giggling like most of us can't win a B grade clubby, but you won 3 junior world titles and went, oh no, I think I
might be all right
at
at this. Yeah, I'll have a crack.
So I ask you the same question now. What was the moment that you said, this is the sport for me?
Probably the same thing, but I didn't do it in
Didn't
24
do
hours.
it in one day.
Mine was in 48 hours.
Lazy. So if you'd saved yourself a bit, you might have won a little bit more on the track.
Yeah, well,
You know,
Peaked too early.
5 world titles and 4th in the World Scratch Race Championship in the elite, and you consider yourself, I should have been a roadie. Remember, kids, 5 world titles, 4th in the worlds in the scratch race, and decided to ride the road because he wasn't good enough, in his opinion, not
his
mine.
opinion, that's right.
Boys, this has been an absolute.
Just
got one more.
before we go,
I was trying-
I just
I'm
want to
not trying
say,
hold 'em
you're a
up.
man of the world, Cam. You're obviously a Perth boy.
Yep.
Spent a lot of time in Europe, Girona, Andorra more than Girona, probably.
Both.
Both.
Probably.
Spent a lot of
Perfect
time in
studies.
Adelaide.
Yes.
Correct. And I think it's handicapped you. I believe you're a Crows supporter. Is this true?
Yeah, I don't really like making that public. Obviously, we're going to. Yes, I'm a Crow supporter.
Oh
You're a
dear me!
Crows
I think you've just
supporter.
lost support of half the people in Perth. Well, maybe all, apart from the people. No, I mean everyone has their foibles, don't they?
Actually, the West Australian caught wind of that once, and they wanted to do an article on it, and I said no.
No. Don't worry. No one watches the show anyway.
No one
It's still a
watches the
secret,
show.
trust
And,
me.
you know, look, and I'm a Pies supporter, so you know I'm more handicapped than you.
What are you?
I actually don't follow AFL that much.
Oh,
But I
you're
was-
still better than him. Don't worry, you're better than him.
Yes. But I was St Kilda when I was younger.
The Saints.
Well,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
I'm West Coast, just for the record. Boys, thank you, Cam. Thank you, Trav, once again, and we'll see you out the West Coast Masters. We'll be in B grade, you'll be in A grade. So, and of course, you're welcome to come down because you're old.
I might join soon.
You might join
Well, it
soon.
might be you're only racing
Yeah,
for a
that's
bit,
true.
and you know you are welcome.
Yeah.
You just take that trial rider,
Right.
Yeah,
What's
that's
it?
free race trial
Free
rider.
race trial.
You
in
can't,
the
you
jersey.
can't take any of the money though.
Can you go straight to A grade? Or you
Yeah, yeah,
go
no,
B
you
grade
don't know.
No, you're straight into A grade. You can't
If you want to
read
come and shepherd B grade around, feel free.
Boys, absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming on and rebooting the B graders with us this time. Absolutely fantastic. Togs, thanks for coming
Thank
back.
you.
Adam Scott, the man behind the camera. Once again, Scotty, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, best we could do. I'm sorry it's such short notice. After a year and a half, we could only get the 2 Meyer boys from WA to come on the show.
Don't know when we'll be back, but we might be.
We could be back. We'll see you later.
Bye.